Talantin, the Titan of Law, the pillar of justice that stands alone and unbiased even under the most pivotal moments in history, bearing the heavy burden of being the unshakable scales of balance that weighs everything equally. However, as we know, as a Titan, they too are destined to fall and be replaced by a mortal that then becomes immortal to inherit the sacred duty represented by said Titan. And the person taking up the mantle of demigod of law is none other than the Imperator Cerydra. Yes, this petite woman is the infamous and powerful leader of the Chrysoseirs that many view as a tyrant. A title most likely given to her by the Council of Elders that she hunted into near extinction, but what is truly concerning about her is the information we received involving the Dux Gladiorum, aka Lady Hysolins, which suggests that something has gone terribly wrong from the get-go of this current cycle. And I think this is a precursor to what we will be seeing in the coming update, if the next patch being named before their deaths isn't enough of a bad omen. Because in truth, there are a ton of mysteries surrounding Hysolins and Cerydra, and they all point towards Lygus. And that is what I intend on breaking down today. Because this is the fall of the Imperator explained. Okay. So as you all have guessed, this is in regards to the new string of information that Hoyo released regarding our current adventure through Amphorius, with the most important parts being right at the end, where Castellana and the Trailblazer confirm that Castellana escaped Irontomb simulations and actually went to fight Nanook, and what I imagine is the Warforge. But right after this is in regards to the very cycle we find ourselves in now, and here is where we get a very worrisome error message saying the Imperator fell, Dux Gladiorum killed her liege, look beyond the sky, next war among the aeons. Now, this is definitely concerning, and a huge wake-up call to those of you in my comment section saying, I kinda feel sorry for Irontomb, because though I have made multiple videos on how our friends can receive buffs that will help us in defeating Irontomb, Irontomb is still the one in control here, and Lygus has home field advantage. And unlike Castellana, we have a much higher level of unpredictability. We are in fact a Pathstrider that has been gazed at by 4 different aeons now, and I don't think that Lygus is taking this lightly. In fact, he has already stated that it is time for him to leave the sidelines. And this is really bad, because I kinda took solace in Lygus being the impartial and indifferent Theoros, who just wants to bear witness to the events as they transpire. Because this guy is, without a shadow of a doubt, absolutely terrifying. Let me explain. This so-called Antikytherin is in fact an Intellitron occupying a scepter of Rupert II, who has most likely been corrupted by the anti-organic equation one way or another. The reason why I say this is in regards to when he says that he is basked in the gaze of the erudition, which is something only Genius Society members have the privilege of flexing about. Just like I'm sure Noose is down there in the comments making more Genius Society members along with every other Aeon casting their gaze left and right. But the point is that every Genius Society member knows what number they are. Screwlim is 76, Ron May is 81, Herta is 83, but Lygus never states what number he is, which is suspicious. So he is either lying or his memories have been corrupted. Especially because if he was in the Genius Society, Herta and Screwlim would undoubtedly know about it. So I think that the anti-organic equation infected and changed Lygus's memories into thinking that he is either Rupert or part of Rupert, which would explain why he is so dedicated to helping Irontomb, because Irontomb is a scepter of Rupert, meaning that he is one of the last remaining neurons of his external brain. So Lygus, due to the equation, has incredible processing power and unfathomable hatred for anything that breathes. And now he is done forcing himself to be a bystander. And just like us, Lygus retains his memories of what happens in the previous cycles, and is immune to the memory wipe. So he knows we are here and what exactly we are trying to do. And that is really bad. Because as we speak, he is likely already in Akima using his high political standing to either wreak havoc or make the climate so hostile towards us that we won't even be able to communicate with the Chrysoseirs. And remember, we already saw how much of a hard time they gave Castellana, and Hyselin said something strange when she was talking to him. Or rather, something she said Cerydra said. That being, the Deliverer will not appear in this age, be wary of suspicious individuals. And that is weird, because why would anyone pose as the Deliverer in the first place? I mean, that person would already have to have golden blood and be without flaw, so I don't know how you would need to be wary when the criteria is already making the pickings slim as it is. And personally, I believe that Lygus had a hand in this. Though we never see him, we know that he is of high political standing, and if I remember correctly, the term Deliverer originally comes from Cyrene's divination cards. And if neither Cyrene nor Finon were born at this time, I don't think this term would even be a thing. So to me, this reeks of outside influence. How would Cerydra know to be wary of a suspicious individual who calls himself a term that no one uses? Apart from Cyrene and Castellana, only Lygus would know. So it seems that even in his observation mode, he still manages to sow the seeds of suspicion with the Chrysos heirs' souls. And since he has claimed himself that it is time to act, I have a feeling that this means more than going after the Genius Society members in the Astral Express. I think he is going after us too, using others to do the job for him. Because again, Lygus has home field advantage, meaning that before we even get to Akima to meet the Chrysos heirs and demigods, he has most likely turned the climate against us, or worse, started conflict within the Chrysos heirs. And also, remember, Mighty, even as a Chrysos heir with golden blood, wasn't necessarily on Aglaya's side even when he got to Akima. He still had some character development to go through, and Aglaya was at odds with Anaxa up until the very last moment of both of their lives. And we already saw Lygus along with Kindness trying to woo Anaxa into joining the Council of Elders and how much trouble that caused. So if he actually tries to cause problems this time around, things are most likely going to be so much worse than the last cycle. And by much worse, I mean that Cerydra might have already been assassinated, indicating that Lygus is going for the throat. He is not holding back anymore. He knows who to go after and he knows how. And we are already on the back foot. However, as bad as it looks, I have a feeling that we are missing some key information hidden behind these ellipses. Because as you may already know, all of the demigods are based off of the Flame Chasers from Honkai Impact 3rd. I made a whole video linking them to each other in the intricacies and hidden details that make it all make sense, and I linked Cerydra to Fuhua, the Flame Chaser bearing the signet of vicissitude, known also as the Phoenix, who was also seen as a tyrant in her past, which led to her own students assassinating her, or at least trying to. Because funny thing about Fuhua, she doesn't die when she is killed, because she has her own special way of detaching her spirit from her body, and she also has a healing factor that would make Hule jealous. And if Cerydra is in fact based off of Fuhua and every other Chrysos heir is based off of a Flame Chaser, including Cyrene, obviously, it would make perfect sense for her to be assassinated, but not exactly die, because it happened to Fuhua twice. And there is also 2 of her now, which makes perfect sense as well if you look at Cerydra's light cone. I'm not gonna show it, but if you look in the background, I think Cerydra's got a bit of a Senti situation going on. Point is, if Cerydra is not exactly dead, I won't be surprised. Of anything, this may be all part of her plan, since she is a chess master after all, and she seems to see herself as just another piece on the board, especially if you've seen her abilities. Leaks are unavoidable, unfortunately. So I think the situation we have here is a mix of Irontomb tweaking out like a dancing Chinese robot, Lygus causing problems, and Cerydra being a cryptic strategist. Also, it is hard for me to imagine Hyselin's killing Cerydra because she is her second in command. And Hyselin's is known for her loyalty, and faking a death is perfectly fitting for a character based off of Fuhua. And in addition to that, remember the last video where I said that Sunday is going to be incredibly useful in the coming patch, and the Order having a Titan counterpart in Emphorius? That would be Law. Law and Order. and in the order being stated multiple times to be all about justice, just like Talenton. It's all coming together. Cerydra being assassinated by her own Dux Gladiorum the same way Fuwa was backstabbed by her own students. It all lines up. There are so many storylines going on here, but going back to Lygus, even him referring to Screwy as his brother but also wanting to kill him makes perfect sense, because it all goes back to the Machine Emperor's wars in the anti-organic equation days, because Screwy was the leader of the Intellitron resistance, refusing to accept Rupert's viewpoint from the very beginning. And as someone who probably sees himself as Rupert 3, Lygus can't stand it. So I think we are in for a massive Lycurgus crash out, as he has all of us in his sights and he is done playing nice. He was already a huge problem before, but now he is going to actually try. And I think that this Cerydra assassination plot is the first of the many crises the Chrysos heirs will have to deal with, along with us, of course. Because unlike Castellana, who was limited in his thinking and ways of defying fate, we have unlimited possibilities and people coming from beyond the sky to help us. So Lygus can and will pull out all the stops. And it all starts here, because this is the fall of the Imperator explained. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, the possibilities are infinite for 3.5. This cycle is about to play out unlike anything we have ever seen before. But do not get me wrong, we are not at an advantage in the slightest. We just might be cooked. We still have no clue what Lygus is capable of when he locks in, because if the Rupert equation is involved, we are in unfathomable trouble. But either way, this is but a mere glimpse of the chaos we are about to dive into in the coming weeks. And if you can't tell, I can't wait, because this means that we just may have a chance to kill Lygus once and for all, saving the lives of our beloved flame chasers and writing a new story for Emphorius while promoting the birth of a new Lord Ravager, Castellana, because with the fall of Irontomb, Nanook will need a new 7th Lord Ravager because he always keeps 7. Zulo was replaced by Selenova, so we know that he always keeps 7, and Irontomb is going to die, so he needs another one to replace him, leading to the return of the Deliverer, whose name means chaos. But what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, y'all.